Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Arden. I'm laughing because I hesitated for a second there and it's like, oh right, I have to talk for this part. um, we're talking about Miles Morales number 21. That's really a moment of me just making myself laugh, which is, uh, I guess, embarrassing, but I'm not embarrassed. Just, oh, professional. That's a good word for it. Super professional. So, we have the final issue here that we're going to talk about of Ultimatum. Okay, I might have skipped over an issue or two, but uh, I also don't care. I feel as though we covered enough and got the setup of the story, maybe missed a few steps along the way, but here we are at the final battle between Miles Morales and Ultimatum, who's got a bunch of goblins, green goblins from the Ultimate Universe, maybe I should specify, which is cool. I actually really like that version of the Green Goblin where he's all monstrous and fiery. It's fun stuff. Joining Miles is a bunch of major characters from this run of Miles comics, including that bird character whose name I'm blanking on, but also Bombshell from way back in Miles's day before he even joined this universe. And beyond that, it leads to a pretty standard battle. I do appreciate like Saladin Ahmed. So we've talked about this series before, and I've talked about how much I like him as a writer, and how positive of a force I think he was for Miles, the character. His writing has really kind of, I don't know, just been a really solid take on it, and he's really the first major writer to take up the character following Bendis. And I like Saladin Ahmed a little bit more. Bendis did a good job with Miles, but oh, Saladin's great. And matching that is artwork by Marcelo Ferreira. Wayne Faucier does inking. David Curiel does coloring. Corey Petit letters. And they're a solid crew. We've talked about their artwork before. What I really like about it is it very much feels like a Spider-Man book. Oh, how to put that into words exactly, because obviously this doesn't look like the classic original Spider-Man comics. It reminds me a lot of Mark Bagley and the other artists from the Ultimate line of Spider-Man comics, both with the Ultimate Peter Parker and then later Miles Morales, who is this version of Miles Morales. And this story arc earlier was kind of awesome because it dealt finally with the 616 version of Miles Morales, whose ultimatum kind of just ended up becoming a criminal. It explains kind of Peter Parker's reaction to first looking up that character way back in the day, which is cool payoff on behalf of Saladin. Uh, but I have to say, so I was pretty excited going into this thing and pretty disappointed. As we go into the final battle, it's pretty standard final battle stuff. Everyone does their quips and stuff, and it's just a bunch of fighting. There are some great moments with Captain America because he's just plain old Steve Rogers, and it's just wonderful seeing him interact with Miles Morales. He was in this story earlier, kind of standing up for uh, the rights of teenage superheroes to exist, which, by the way, was kind of how all this stuff started. I don't know, I don't really know what the point of any of that was as far as Spider-Man's concerned, or this version of Spider-Man, I guess I'll specify, but whatever. I found that's the overall plot entertaining enough as it dealt with the larger issues with Ultimatum, so that was fine. But then we get into the final battle, and they realize that in order to I don't know, get rid of Ultimatum or something and save Miles from being pulled back into the Ultimate Universe, which is pretty cool stakes, Prowler has to sacrifice himself. It literally ends with like Miles going no, and in a very cool page. Like it's a cool shot. uh, Uncle Aaron dies, and the Prowler dies again because I feel like I've seen this at least a few times now. And then there's Captain America does have some cool lines where he's like, "Oh, it was a heroic thing he did," and Miles is like, "That's easy to say." That or Miles in in a moment there where it looks like he's going to have some sort of overly dramatic conflict with Steve Rogers in the final pages of this book. Miles goes like, "That's easy to say. We're still here," and he gets all angry, even like raises his fist. And Captain America says, "It is easy to say." Um, but and then like Spider-Man just webs off, but he's like, "Well, like what he did was wrong. He saved some lives, but there are no winners on a night like this." And I really like that little moment of writing. But as far as the emotions of it all go, I wish that a writer like Ahmed, who I really like and tends to work against the grain of what I expect or have seen before, to have resolved things in a way that wasn't so simple or done before to Miles. He's lost his mom and then got her back due to multiverse shenanigans. Lost his uncle and then got him back due to multiverse shenanigans and then lost him again. I also called this. I said a lot earlier, if you go back into my live streams of previous Miles runs, that this was going to happen. And the way they were setting things up and making it so fun for the character to have an open identity with his parents and for them to kind of support him, to have this relationship with his uncle who's kind of mending fences with the rest of the family. I knew there was heartbreak around the corner, but that's so predictable. And I found it profoundly disappointing because of that. This whole issue felt very flat. I don't really think I'd recommend this story arc, and it's a real disappointment just because the series had been running so strong and it had been easy to be like, no, just pick up these books. They're great. They do refer to a lot of stuff that's happened before with Miles, and it is kind of almost worth reading all the Miles comics because of it, but it's a real misstep for the character who's suffered few so far. And it's not the end of the world or anything like that. It's just, well, we've done this before. And I found that very disappointing. So, yeah, unless anyone's got anything else to say in chat or whatever, that's about it for me. And I think we'll call it there. Nice quick review, but that's fine. I got a bunch of other stuff to do, so I could use a bit of a break. But thanks for watching, everybody. I don't recommend the book. It was real disappointing, and a real shame. I don't know if I'm gonna keep picking these up, but I guess I still have them on order. Actually, I probably don't. I think I just picked this one up at random. So that's I don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to think about that because I really like Miles, I really like Saladin Ahmed, and I really like this series, but I did not like this issue, and found it made the whole like it's a rough ending to a big story arc. So I don't know if I fully emotionally, or I not maybe not emotionally is the wrong word. I don't know if I've fully processed what that means for this series. That's not necessarily an emotional thing. That has to do with its legacy and how I view it as a whole and stuff. It's not incompetently made, but I would give like be pretty negative about it because it's so much of a retread for this character. That's the problem with like bringing back all these characters, rebooting the character in a sort of soft way for the 616 universe, is that if they do this to his parents, it's going to feel the exact same way and feel forced, feel done before, feel unnecessary. And all of that's true here. I think the issue is Saladin Ahmed had this brilliant idea for a story where like he used all this ultimate comic stuff. He brought in the 616 version of Miles Morales. I said one of the earlier issues where they reveal that it was one of the most important Spider-Man books I ever read, and I stand by that. That's a huge deal for this character. So to flub the ending is a big deal. And I'm glad I took a couple of minutes maybe to give a bit of a voice to that. So yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time here on Comic Island.